It's 5 a.m. Your alarm goes off, not to a jarring beat, but to the sound of gentle rainfall, or maybe a Tibetan singing bowl. You're gonna be that girl today. You roll out of bed, green smoothie, Pilates, journaling with perfect handwriting in your linen-covered notebook, skincare, 8 steps minimum, a capsule wardrobe, curated productivity, radiant health, effortless success, and somehow you feel worse than ever. Welcome to the paradox of aspiration, where the pursuit of your best life has become the very thing destroying your actual life. Let me paint you a picture. Actually, scratch that. Let me describe the picture that's already been painted for you about 10 million times on your Instagram feed. She wakes up in a sun-drenched bedroom with white linen sheets. There's a single fiddly fig in the corner, thriving, obviously. She's already glowing, even though she just woke up. Her morning routine is a choreographed dance of self-optimization, meditation, skincare, a perfectly plated breakfast that somehow includes chia seeds, fresh berries, and edible flowers. She's productive, but never stressed. Ambitious, but always balanced. She works out every day, but never talks about the pain. She's building an empire from her laptop at a minimalist desk. And by 9 a.m., she's accomplished more than most people do all week. She is that girl. And you're supposed to become her. Here's what nobody tells you. That girl isn't a person. She's a product. A carefully curated, aesthetically pleasing, algorithmically optimized product designed to make you feel like you're always falling short. Because here's the thing. When you watch those videos, you're not seeing a life. You're seeing a highlight reel, edited and filtered and monetized. That girl waking up at 5 a.m., she probably filmed that at 10 a.m. after her third coffee. That green smoothie, there's a good chance she dumped it in the sink right after the photo. That perfect apartment, ring light, specific angle, everything else is a mess just outside the frame. But you don't see that part. You just see the gap between her life and yours. And that gap, it feels like failure. So let's talk about what happens when you actually try to become that girl. You start small. Maybe you commit to waking up earlier. Then you add the morning routine, the skincare, the workout, the journaling, the meal prep, the side hustle, the reading, the gratitude practice, Wait, when did self-improvement become a full-time job? Psychologists have a term for this: optimization fatigue. It's what happens when every single moment of your life becomes a project to be perfected. When you can't just drink water, you have to drink water from a glass bottle with timestamps to track your hydration. You can't just go for a walk, it has to be a mindful movement practice that you document for accountability. And here's the cruelest trick. The more you optimize, the more you realize there's always another level, another morning routine to try, another productivity hack to implement, another version of yourself that's just slightly better, thinner, more organized, more successful, more together. It's like running on a treadmill that speeds up every time you start to catch your breath. One study from the University of Michigan found that people who engage heavily with aspirational content on social media report 40% higher rates of anxiety and depression than those who don't. 40%! Because every time you watch someone's perfect morning routine, your brain does a cruel thing. It compares your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. And you always lose that comparison. Now, here's where it gets really dark. That girl culture is supposed to be about self-love, right? Self-care, becoming your best self. But somewhere along the way, self-improvement became self-rejection. Think about the language. Glow up, level up, become the person you're meant to be. All of it implies that who you are right now, not enough. The you that exists today with your messy kitchen and your 7 a.m. wake-up time and your store-bought breakfast, that version is the rough draft, the mistake, the before photo, and you need to fix it. I watched this happen to a friend.
She started innocent enough, just wanted to be healthier, more organized. Within 6 months, she had color-coded meal plans, a 90-minute morning routine, and a panic attack if she missed a single day at the gym. She stopped coming to brunch because it wasn't aligned with her goals. She stopped calling because she was too busy optimizing. When I finally asked if she was happy, she looked at me like I'd asked a question in a foreign language. "I will be," she said, "once I get there." But here's the thing. There's no there. That's the paradox. The finish line keeps moving because that girl culture isn't selling you a destination. It's selling you a permanent state of inadequacy wrapped in aesthetic packaging. Let's talk about what you're actually giving up in this pursuit. Spontaneity. You can't have spontaneous fun when every hour is scheduled in your productivity planner. Authenticity. You can't be yourself when you're constantly performing someone else's version of perfection. Joy. You can't enjoy the present moment when you're too busy optimizing it for content. And connection. Real, messy, imperfect human connection. Because that girl doesn't have bad days. She doesn't show up with greasy hair and yesterday's mascara still on. She doesn't cry over burnt toast or stay in bed scrolling for an extra hour. She doesn't exist in the beautifully flawed space where actual human beings live. And when you're trying to be her, you can't exist there either. There's this concept in psychology called self-discrepancy theory. It's the gap between who you are and who you think you should be. And research shows that the wider that gap, the more you suffer. More anxiety, more depression, more feeling like you're drowning in your own inadequacy. That girl culture is an industrial scale factory for manufacturing that gap. But here's what I've learned, and what I wish someone had told me earlier. The rebellion isn't in becoming that girl, it's in refusing to. It's in sleeping until 8 a.m. because your body needs it. It's in eating cereal for dinner because you're tired, and that's okay. It's in having a skincare routine that's just washing your face. Revolutionary, I know. It's in posting the messy desk, the failed recipe, the day you didn't work out because you watched 3 hours of reality TV instead, and it was exactly what you needed. Some people are starting to figure this out. There's a counter movement happening. People showing their real mornings, their failures, their that girl attempts that fell apart by 9 a.m. And you know what? Those posts get more engagement because they're real. Because people are starving for permission to be human again. Look, I'm not saying don't have goals. I'm not saying don't try to grow or improve or take care of yourself. I'm saying check the motivation. Are you doing this because it genuinely makes you feel better? Or are you doing it because you're terrified that if you don't, you'll never measure up to some impossible standard created by strangers on the internet? Are you living your life, or are you performing someone else's idea of what your life should look like? That girl will always be one more green smoothie away. One more morning routine. One more purchase. One more optimization. She is designed to be unreachable, because if you ever actually became her, you'd stop clicking, stop buying, stop feeling inadequate enough to keep trying. The paradox of aspiration is this. The moment you stop chasing that girl is the moment you become the person you actually want to be. Someone real, someone flawed, someone who sometimes sleeps in and eats pizza and has bad days and still deserves love and rest and joy. Someone who understands that the best version of yourself isn't the one that looks perfect on camera. It's the one that's too busy actually living to care about being filmed. So maybe it's time to unfollow, to unsubscribe, to stop measuring your worth by someone else's morning routine. Maybe it's time to be that girl who chose herself exactly as she is.